Do you remember when Hollywood actually made original sci-fi? Think back to Flight of the Navigator. It was a strange idea, it had a cool spaceship, and it put a kid right in the middle of something massive, simple. But now, nearly 40 years later, Hollywood is looking back at that movie and their big idea: remake it. Here is the thing. The deeper I dig into this project, the more I keep wondering. If you are changing the characters, changing the plot, changing the perspective, and modernising the whole thing, why not just make a brand new sci-fi movie? Well, because that is where the real nonsense begins. If you grew up in the 80s, Flight of the Navigator was probably a huge part of your childhood. For me, it was one of those classic VHS tapes, the kind you watched over and over again. That Trimaxion ship looked incredible. Max was hilarious, the Alan Silvestri score was pure magic, but most of all, it captured something that modern family films completely miss: wonder. You actually believed that maybe, just maybe, a spaceship was out there waiting for you. It wasn't trying to build a massive cinematic universe, it wasn't setting up half a dozen spin-offs, it was just telling a great sci-fi story, which is exactly why this new remake announcement is so fascinating, because it brings us right back to that classic Hollywood question: why remake something that already works? Now, let's be clear, I don't automatically hate remakes. Some of them are great, a few even top the original. So, the issue here isn't just that Flight of the Navigator is getting remade, the real problem is what Hollywood thinks we actually want. Studios love to claim that audiences only care about established brands, and they are right to a point. People recognise the title, they remember the ship, they know the movie, but then those exact same studios start changing everything to make the new version stand out, and suddenly you're left wondering who this movie is even for. The old fans wanted Flight of the Navigator, and the new audience doesn't care about the title at all. So, who exactly is supposed to watch this? I think this points to a much bigger problem. Modern studios are absolutely terrified of risk. An original sci-fi movie is a massive gamble. You have to convince people to care, you have to market a brand new idea, you have to build awareness from scratch, and that is hard work. Using an old title is just easier. The name does half the marketing for you, the audience already knows it, but eventually people start noticing the pattern. A studio announces a reboot, fans get excited, then the details leak out, the changes begin, the online arguments start, and before anyone even shoots a single scene, everyone is already fighting. We see this exact same cycle over and over again. What fascinates me is that Flight of the Navigator already has the perfect setup for a sequel. Think about it. David Freeman is an adult now. 40 years have passed. Everything from the first movie still happened. The ship, Max, the alien tech, it all still exists. There is your movie. You don't need to wipe the slate clean. Imagine David now has kids of his own. Imagine the ship suddenly returns. Max comes back with a crisis that only David can solve. Or maybe this time the whole family gets swept up in the adventure. Right there you have nostalgia for old fans and fresh faces for a new generation. Everybody wins. Plus, you haven't erased the original film. You built on it. And that is the difference between expanding a story and just replacing it. This isn't just about Flight of the Navigator, it's about a massive trend. Hollywood just keeps looking backward. Sequels, reboots, remakes, and relaunches. At some point, you have to wonder where all the new ideas went. Because the real irony here, the original Flight of the Navigator was a totally fresh idea. That is exactly why people remember it. Nobody fell in love with it because it was based on some older movie. People loved it because it felt different, it felt imaginative, it felt new, and that is the real lesson Hollywood needs to learn. Stop trying to remake old ideas, start creating new ones. So, where do I land on all of this? I'm not angry about the remake. Honestly, I'm not even convinced it will ever actually get made. This project has been stuck in Hollywood development hell for years. But if you want to know what I would rather see, give me a great new sci-fi movie, or give me a proper legacy sequel, something that respects what came before while still offering us something completely new. Because Flight of the Navigator wasn't special because of its brand name, it was special because of its imagination, and that is the one thing a remake can never just borrow. You have to bring that spark yourself, and right now, that is becoming rarer than ever. But what do you think? Would you watch a Flight of the Navigator remake? Would you rather see a legacy sequel with David Freeman back in action? Or should Hollywood just leave the classics alone and start betting on original sci-fi again? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and join me next time as we watch the nonsense unfold. See you then.